wait. Oh, now I'm loud. Okay. So, good afternoon. Welcome to Waynesboro. We're here. This is traffic areas that we've gone to in the past. Opportunity for folks to participate who may not normally have the opportunity to participate in board meetings. So I hope everyone found the meeting location okay. It's right off the highway, so it's not exactly one of the most difficult ones we've ever had. Welcome. Greg, are you ready to gavel in and get started, sir? Let's do that. Is it on?
It doesn't. There it is. There's a little delay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Or actually, good afternoon to y'all. Welcome to Waynesboro for our full board meeting of the CAB. It's great to be here with y'all at this new location, as James brought up. It's heartening to see so many familiar faces, dedicated board members, and our esteemed agency personnel all gathered for this one purpose regarding environmental remediation and waste management out at SRS. Our board meetings are a testament to our collective commitment to our communities in the Savannah Riverside. They're an opportunity for us to come together, learn and share insights, address concerns, and collaboratively chart a path forward. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work that goes into preparing for these meetings. To our board members, thank you for the time and effort you invest in reviewing materials, formulating questions, and engaging in meaningful discussion and conclusions. To our agency personnel, their expertise and willingness to provide clarity on complex matters are invaluable to the board's ability to do its work. And to the CAB team, thank you for all the work you do putting these meetings together and getting nice venues for us and getting us out in the places we need to be. The agenda lays out the work we have to do. We have several updates, including on the much discussed landlord transition from DOE. EM to NNSA. We also have two recommendations to consider for closure, one regarding integration between nuclear materials and liquid waste processes, and the other, again, on the landlord transition. As always, I'll be thinking about how the reported activities reduce risk, reduce cost, and or advance the mission. As we delve into our agenda, I look forward to a meeting marked by open dialogue, mutual respect, and constructive collaboration that advances our communities in the Savannah Riverside. I wish us all a productive and insightful meeting. Thank you all for all you do for your communities and DOE.
Real quick, just to make sure that we're all on the same page with who everyone is, I think that we've established a tradition at this point of going around and introducing ourselves real briefly, name and what your affiliation is, and I think we should keep doing that. That's why I put it on the agenda. Aha. Greg, we'll start with you, and we'll just go around to Charles, and then Phyllis, Johanna.
What affiliation do you want of me? That I'm the chair?
I would like that, yeah.
Okay. Greg Murray, chair of the CAB.
Charles Hilton, vice chair of the CAB.
Phyllis Britt, chairman of FDSR.
Ronna O'Brien, vice chair, FDSR.
Carlos Cato, chair of the newly minted Long-Term Missions and Budget Committee.
Narendra Malik, CAB member.
John Thomas, CAB.
Greg O'Quinn, South Carolina DHEC and the Aiken.
Susan Fulmer, South Carolina DHEC.
John Richards, EPA, Region 4, Atlanta.
Edwin Deshawn, Deputy Manager, DOE Savannah.
Amy Boyette, DOE Savannah Riverside.
Hubert Von Tool, Vice Chair of Long-Term Mission Committee.
Michelle Bush, CAB board.
Darren Sejuan, CAB. Don Colson, CAB.
Ruth Hollingsworth, Waste Management, Vice Chair.
What's the new CAB?
Steve Riley, always late, CAB.
Kim Ray, CAB. Bobby Williams, Administrative and Outreach Vice Chair.
And I am James Tanner, your facilitator for today and tomorrow. Any questions or comments about the agenda before we get going? We'll be around the tracks. All right, seeing none. One thing that we want to keep in mind is through the agency updates, I'm going to ask if you hold your questions until the end of each update, unlike with the presentations. With the presentations, if you have a question, we can address those as we keep going through. We'll also make sure that we set aside time at the end of each presentation to give you folks a moment to discuss amongst yourselves around the table. If you have any immediate thoughts that you want to share with your fellow board members, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to express those and can communicate and collaborate with one another. All right. With that,
Before Edwin gets started, I just want to announce to everybody that I have a new hire on my staff at Savannah River. It is James Tanner. So James has been officially hired since our last CAB meeting as a federal employee. So welcome, James. We thank you for all you do. So a round of applause for James.
thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone. With that, we'll keep going down the list. We'll start on our agency updates. Edwin, please, sir.
Good afternoon and welcome to Waynesboro. We're happy to be hosting this meeting today in Burke County. We host CAB meetings in this area as part of our commitment to the board and to the public to ensure that all citizens in the affected area are allowed to attend in person or online. Now to our regular updates. Advanced Manufacturing Collaborative. Construction began in March. Site preparation at the University of South Carolina, Aiken, including underground utilities and footings, are scheduled to be complete in July, and placement of the building slab is scheduled to begin soon. A key milestone for this calendar year is the complete erection of the structural steel for the building. We are targeting December of 2024 to be substantially complete with construction, with occupancy to begin sometime in the spring of 2025. Regarding the SRS management and operating contractor, the transition from the Office of Environmental Management to the National Nuclear Security Administration is planned to be effective in FY 2025. Our teams have put together a comprehensive plan that was submitted to NNSA and EM leadership last month. I'll be going a little bit more in details in regards to the transition tomorrow afternoon when I give my brief. Now on to some operational achievements, beginning with nuclear materials. In L area, the facility continues to receive spent nuclear fuel shipments from both domestic and foreign research reactors. In H Canyon, the facility continues processing of spent nuclear fuel with 8.5 dissolutions completed to date for FY23, and they had 10 planned for the entire facility. The installation of the electrolytic dissolver continues. This will enable us to process the Japanese fast critical assembly fuel as well as other non-aluminum clad spent nuclear fuel that we hold in L Basin. In K area, facilities continue downblending operations with 95 completed through July 13th and 100 planned for the year. Currently making regular shipments of blended PU to WIP at this time, and more details on these activities will be provided during tomorrow afternoon's briefing. Building 235F deactivation. Continued progress for us. We've given the contractor permission to initiate decommissioning activities. F and H area laboratory deactivation. Significant progress has been made in F area on building 772F, where zone Q is 88% complete, and 772-1F, zone C, is completely done. Transuranic waste shipments to WIP. The site had completed 11 true waste shipments to WIP in FY 2023. Liquid waste program. The liquid waste program has continued efforts to accelerate the processing of radioactive liquid waste and the reduction of risk to the environment. Construction of the salt disposal units have demonstrated good progress, and an additional SDU has been completed. Transfers in F tank farm continue at near record rates for us. Additional tanks have started preparation for closure in support of recent updates to regulatory agreements. And SWPF has run a record number of days without needing the coalescer cleaning and has started a phased implementation of the next generation solvent in a continued climb to 9 gold. These performance highlights are reflected in the numbers and information I'll share right now. Salt disposal units, construction activities continue to strive and are exceeding expectations relative to schedule and cost. For SDU 8, they have received approval to operate and begin to turn over to operation approximately 15 months ahead of schedule. SDU 9, cell construction is complete. Liner installation is underway. SDUs 10 through 12, work on cell 10 is continuing. Site preparations for SDU 11 and 12 is complete. Defense Waste Processing Facility. DWPF continues to make improvements to crane reliability and to change over the glycolic chemistry and to facilitate improved glass production rates with less off-gassing. To date in FY 2023, 57 canisters have been poured and leak checked. For task order 3, 63 out of 95 canisters forecasted have been poured and leak checked. So far in 2023, 245 canisters have been double stacked in the glass weight storage building number 1. There have been 369 positions modified in the facility. A total of 1,977 canisters have been double stacked in the glass weight storage building number 1 since the double stacking project began in August of 2016. Salt waste processing. Improvements and optimizations continue as SWPF strives towards the goal to process 9 million gallons per year. To achieve the processing rate of 6 million gallons prior to the next generation solvent, which is scheduled for full implementation in 2025, SRS plans to first implement the chemistry change from boric to boric from nitric acid. SWPF has processed 2.41 million gallons so far in FY23 as of July 17th and 3.26 million gallons for task order number 3 and 6.37 million since operations started in October 2020. And for the first time since the start of operations, SWPF has processed over 100,000 gallons of salt waste for 2 consecutive weeks in the first 2 weeks of July. SWPF hit a record of 27.5 continuous days for lesser operations without the need to stop for cleaning. The previous record was around 20 days. SWPF is forecasted to achieve just shy of 4.5 million gallons, which is the process target set for task order number 3 for the period of June 27, 2022 to September 30th, 2023. Saltstone Production Facility. SPF operations have been consolidated with the Effluent Treatment Facility, or ETF, to allow SPF to run consecutively more than a single shift. Ultimately, SPF and ETF personnel will be cross-trained, enabling them to work 24/7 operations when needed. Since the start of FY23, 3.2 million gallons of decontaminated salt solutions were transferred to SPF for permanent disposal in the salt disposal units, or SDUs. This compared to the 2.8 million gallons of decontaminated salt solution that was transferred to SPF for disposal in FY22. After combining the 3.2 million gallons of decontaminated salt solution received in FY23 with the saltstone grout components of slag and fly ash, over 5.36 million gallons of saltstone have been produced and disposed in the SDUs this fiscal year. Tank preparations for waste removal. Efforts continue to ready tanks for waste removal and to prepare salt batches for SWPF and salt and sludge batches for DWPF. 4 additional tanks have been added to the work schedule to adjust the accelerated commitments for closure of the old style tanks. There are now 15 tanks in different stages of planning, design, procurement, field modifications to support the salt dissolution and sludge and salt removal, and to compile and to qualify salt batches for SWPF and sludge batches for DW. This work is critical because it typically takes more than 3 years to prepare a tank to remove the waste, to prepare a salt batch for SWPF or a sludge batch for DWP. Accelerated basin de-inventory. Integration of the ABD mission and the liquid waste missions are progressing well. Liquid waste has successfully received the third series of ABD discharges from the H Canyon and is incorporating those into sludge batch number 11. Liquid waste regulatory affairs. The South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control and DOE Savannah River mutually agreed to substitute process optimizations in SWPF and other facilities in lieu of constructing and operating a second tank closure cesium removal or TICR as a more effective and efficient approach to achieve salt waste processing goals. Focusing on increasing efficiency and reliability will enhance efforts to close all tanks in support of current federal facility agreements. High-level waste interpretation. Last week, DOE made documents publicly available that support the conclusion that contaminated process equipment from SRS meets DOE high-level radioactive waste interpretation for disposal as low-level radioactive waste in accordance with the radiological characteristics. These documents conclude that the proposed disposal of SRS contaminated process equipment as low-level radioactive waste at a commercial disposal facility outside of the state of South Carolina would have no significant environmental impacts and does not constitute any major federal action. In 2023, we intend to initiate shipments of the contaminated process equipment to the Waste Control Specialist Federal Waste Facility, which is a licensed off-site commercial disposal facility located in Andrews County, Texas. This low-level waste meets the facility's waste acceptance criteria and is fully protective of the public's health, the safety, and the environment. Right. And soil and water cleanup. The endangered red cockaded woodpecker banding is underway at SRS. The U.S. Forestry Service monitors the site populations of the endangered red cockaded woodpecker, and in the spring and the early summer, all nestings are weighed and banded for future observations. These woodpeckers are cooperative breeders, and adult birds share nestling feeding workloads across a group of 2 or 4 or even more. The red cockaded woodpecker populations has grown considerably at SRS since original 4 were identified in 1985, and currently that consists of 145 groups with over 617 individuals. Environmental monitoring support for the Environmental Justice Initiative Teach Radiation Energy Technology, or TREAT, workshop. From July 12th through July 14th, 2023, DOE Environmental Management hosted the Environmental Justice Program, TREAT, at the University of South Carolina, Aiken. The workshop is an annual event which targets the CSRA, particularly teachers and faith-based leaders. SRNS provides presentations on the basics of radiation and demonstrates environmental monitoring operations at SRS. This year, the environmental monitoring presentation provided an overview of the SRS air surveillance portable monitoring stations and freshwater fish collection. Other entities that presented and participated in the workshop include South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Energy Headquarters, USC Aiken leadership, the Mayor of Aiken, and various city leaders and community activists. Herbicide spraying performed using aero drones at closed reactor facilities at SRS. Over several weeks at the end of June and beginning of July, SRNS Area Completion Projects representative, with the support provided by Savannah River National Lab, safely and successfully completed herbicide spraying of the reactor roofs and caps using aerial drones at the closed P and R reactor facilities. The approved regulatory documents for the closed facilities require a post-closure maintenance strategy that includes treatment with herbicides to prevent woody growth that could impact the structural integrity of the concrete. Use of aerial drones provides SRS with a cost-effective and efficient post-closure strategy that reduces risk to the by eliminating the need for bucket trucks and helps enable in situ closure and end states for such hardened facilities in the future. All right, and the last one, Department of Energy announces its Industry Day on developing clean energy generation on DOE lands. On June 20th, 2023, DOE announced an initiative to increase clean energy production by making DOE land available for potential development of new clean energy generation through leases. To support this effort, DOE is hosting an Industry Day at DOE headquarters on July 28th, 2023, to share additional information about the initiative as well as to identify parties with proven experience in implementing successful clean energy projects generating 200 megawatts or larger. DOE will present its vision for utilizing DOE lands to achieve clean energy goals with senior leaders and will share this information on site's potential for availability or development. That concludes my update. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Edwin in the department? Narendra, we'll start with you.
Narendra Malik, CAB. Thank you for the presentation. You talk about the foreign nuclear material coming to the Savannah River site.
Right.
Are they coming under nuclear non-proliferation or any other agreement?
Well, the ones I spoke of specifically were for research reactors, those types. But in addition, and I'll let Kurt kind of chime in, there are other additional shipments I think that you're referring to, right? Correct?
Any?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah, just want to be accurate. In addition to what you mentioned, the ones we're referring to were research reactors. Okay.
Non-proliferation program. Is that what you asked?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Any other questions from around the table? Oh, Charles.
Couple of questions. One comment that I was very pleased with, you said the electrolytic dissolver
Correct.
is progressing well.
Right.
Do you have an expected startup date of that where they can get rid of Japanese fuel, but possibly some of the stuff in ale storage?
Yeah, I'll have to get a date. I'll check with Kurt. If not, we will get a startup date for you. We're hearing the spring of 2025 is what we're projecting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may,
Absolutely.
you gave us a lot of numbers, and I was trying to get them all down.
Yeah.
Always my numbers are salt waste processing facility, because that's where we get rid of tank waste.
That's right.
I think you told me that we were at 2.41 through July or through last week, with a goal of 4.5 in September, end of September.
Okay.
If those numbers are correct, we're at 54%, and we're at 75% of the year. I know you said we really ramped up production, and you're doing great.
Right.
Do you think you'll get the 4.5? Or is that not realistic at this point?
Well, what I can tell you is we're really excited about the improvements in relations to the coalescer and some of the, the downtimes that we experience where we're getting more runtime and picking up efficiency. But we're striving towards the goal, and I know Jim Folk is behind me. He could probably delve a little bit more into detail about, because he watches the numbers daily, so he could probably give you a better depiction of if we're going to meet it or not. Yep, great. Yeah.
Is this on?
Hang on. He'll give you a thumbs up when he's ready.
Give a thumbs up. We'll try now?
There we go.
Okay, good. So you may be confusing some fiscal year numbers and task order 3 numbers, okay? Task order 3 began the end of June of last year, so it's about a 15-month period. That was our forecast for the 4.5. And I think the number you heard, we gave both, actually, both task order 3 and fiscal year. So we're a little bit closer to that. We are projecting that we're going to be pretty darn close to that 4.5 million for the task order 3 period. Okay.
Okay. Greg?
Thank you, Greg Murray Cap. Edwin, thank you so much for the presentation. I was interested, we talked a little bit this morning about the clean energy effort that's going on. A few years ago, before you were with us, I think, we passed a recommendation, something about solar panels. And I'm glad to see that they're thinking about making some of these large chunks of land that SRS has available to folks to pursue that sort of stuff. I won't ask you for an update, because I know that the last time we talked, they were still talking about it. They'd kind of that it wasn't going to work economically the first time we talked about it, and then they said they're sort of revisiting it, and I won't ask you necessarily what's happening with that. But I'm wondering, is there an idea or possibility that something that comes out of this workshop or this project might reflect back to SRS in terms of some other technologies or other projects that can be done at SRS other than, just loaning property to other folks to do their own stuff?
Well, just real quickly, I would say yes. And we do have Jimmy McMillan. He's our assistant manager for infrastructure. He has been spearheading our initiative for all the clean energy, and he'll be, a part of the preps, I guess, for the industry day. But if Jimmy's not up yet, I'm sure he can kind of touch points. But we're very optimistic about what we can achieve in regards to clean energy. And as you know, the site's already embarked on some things. Not sure how much I can share, but I do believe that the public and community would be very excited to hear some of the plans that Jimmy and his team have embarked on with Dominion Energy to really tap into exactly what you're talking about.
Well, just get to your question real quickly. We are working it. We're going to look at large-scale solar projects coming down the road. We are in conversation and planning with Dominion Energy. We had a meeting this morning for about an hour and a half. Very productive. So I think we got 2 paths forward that we can go after, looking at developers to come out. And we've identified about 5 to 6 parcels of land on the site for consideration for future clean energy, not just for solar, but maybe some other things down the road as technology improves and advances. So that's kind of where we are, and more meetings to happen. And as things become available, and will be in lockstep with us, and we'll update you here as we get more concrete fidelity into planning.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Jimmy. Well, I was going to ask you real quick. The parcel, you said 5 to 6 parcels of land. About how much approximately in terms of what acreage or however you guys define it, how much are you talking about?
I think get that number.
We'd have to get that back, get back to you because, as you know,
we have the number here. I'm looking at it.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
This is
We
not
have the number here. We can give it to you.
right?
okay. All righty. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Narinder, we can come back around to you while we're pulling up that number. Narinder? Oh, card down. Charles, we'll come back to you then.
Narendra Malik.
Oh,
When we talk about clean energy, it's a little bit, to me, misleading. We are going for the electric cars. I don't know if there is any plan to manage the spent batteries over the periods. I hope it does not become another love canal that we have millions and millions of batteries and polluting the underground water and environment. And when we are producing batteries, I think nobody's saying anything, but we are polluting the environment just producing batteries. We may be saving the environment by not putting the cars, emission from the cars, but on the other hand, the battery plants are generating a lot of pollution. Is there any information on that, how we are going to manage the battery?
Just on the offset, we manage our fleet through GSA. So just like any other federal agency, we utilize GSA. So we embarked on getting our fleet through GSA, utilizing their process. And as you know, we don't keep cars that long. They rotate out and back into the GSA fleet. But I understand and appreciate your concern about, hey, yes, we're saving on one end, but what happens on the back end? And that's a bigger problem than just with us. But what I can tell you is it's been a tremendous approach for us, for the United States Department of Energy to embark on that, where we've got so many, energy efficient vehicles that we've added to our fleet, from Ford F-150 Lightnings to the Teslas, to change out some of the old gas-powered vehicles that we use. And so it's been a tremendous impact for us. We've invested in our infrastructure to be able to power those. Hopefully down in the future, fingers crossed, employees, like the young man here, if he's got a Tesla, he can come to work and plug in and go home, those kind of things. We really want to tap into the true benefits across the board about bringing it to the site. But as far as the battery management, I don't believe we'll get into that part of it. That would be a GSA or more of a corporate management.
Pardon me interrupting, but GSA is only administrative, they keep the count. But the real technical management of the waste management, I call it waste management, it has to be done jointly with Department of Energy because it is energy producing item, and jointly with EPA because that is causing the management of the waste management. I think the research should go on that, and my opinion is that there should be initiation that how we are going to dispose of these batteries in next 10 years when we have millions of them wasted batteries.
Understood. I understand your question. I think we can take that for the record.
Thank you.
Okay.
Charles?
Charles Hilton Cab. Last meeting that we had, there was a TruePack shipment to WIP that was a problem. Is there an update on that? Did we get it back? Did we fix it? Did we, whatever y'all do to them?
You are correct. There was a challenge there, and I think, Kyle, can you give us a quick update on how that's kind of resolved since the last time we met? This is Kyle Kilroy. He's our assistant manager for nuclear materials operation.
Thank you, Edwin. Can y'all hear me okay? So we have approval to ship that back to us, and our contractor has actually set up a place to disassemble it and clean it and open it up and make sure that it's clean on the inside and try and see where that actually came from. So I just saw the schedule last week. I don't recall the dates offhand, but it will be, I imagine, the next few weeks.
Okay. Any other questions for DOE from around the table?
I have an answer for Greg.
Oh,
It's
right.
5 tracks and it's a little over 13,000 acres. 13.2.
Thanks, Sammy. All right. Last chance? Not really. Edwin's not going anywhere. If you think of something later, we can come back. All right. We ready to move on?
Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. John, let's move over to EPA.
Yeah, John Richards, EPA. Some of these may have mentioned in the last CAB meeting, but since we're progressing well on these, I'll mention again. As you know, in EPA, Region 4 CERCLA is why we're involved in Savannah River. That's why whenever I do a talk here, that's what I spend most of my time on. Is some of you that aren't familiar with Superfund, what it is and how we're implementing, how and why we're implementing it at Savannah River. So there's certain targets, bean counts where they made that are much bigger than others, and some of those are what we call a record of decision. And sometimes even when things have to change from that record of decision, something that's significant is just a record of decision amendment, which does require another public meeting. One that's less significant is called the ESD, Explanation of Significant Differences. And that's, we have 2 of those that are going to be signed before September. One is with our FNH, that was diversion boxes 5 and 6, which we know are low on the potato list, if I can say that, for Jim Folk and his team, but it's an important for us in Superfund to show we're making progress Savannah River, even for some of the minor things like that. So again, that gets the same weight, even that minor change that we used, that once they start actually closing tanks again, that's what we also did the same thing with tank closures prior. There's another ESD for Dumbarton Bay, which some of you may be familiar with, and that's where we had a lot of coal ash mostly sitting in very wetland areas in Carolina Bay, which is unique to Savannah River. And that, in that case, that change was because they found a lot more than they anticipated. It was going to be even harder to get it out because of the wetlands. I think it was going to be like 11 million more. So that's where the three parties agreed to they've already excavated a lot. Let's leave this in place with land use controls. Again, it's pretty low risk for EPA anyway. And then we have a record decision that's not targeted till December, but we're finishing up comments now, and I think South Carolina may have too. And that's on the N area. So you're not maybe familiar where they do a lot of nuclear materials work. It's just some of these were just sometimes different projects that are done in area. So there's actually three different little units there. One you may be familiar with, it was the Ford building where they decommissioned in 2021, and now we're taking care of, do we need to do anything more with the slab left over? And then there's two other areas. One's called the ECOD, which we have, I think there's like 25 on the site. That's really early construction and I think debris material. Probably didn't get the acronym right, but that's essentially a lot of the construction debris from the early 50s during all the high construction days. And those usually don't have a lot of concern with them, but almost all of those, because of the time frame, had asbestos. So we often have to deal with that. Usually we just land use controls, and it's not worth digging those up. And I think there's another another minor area. There used to be a lumber yard that'll have a small excavation. So that's going along as well. I may mention the last meeting where I couldn't remember if we had already appointed our new Superfund Division Director. We've been waiting ever since Carol Manell retired last December, and Randall Chafin, that some of you know because he's been a Deputy Superfund Director for many, many years and was acting during that time. But now Caroline Freeman, who used to be one of our branch chiefs in Superfund and became the Division Director of Air Division for 3 or 4 years, has now taken over the Superfund program. And she actually has a connection to Savannah River. If you remember, her niece was actually, I think, working with DOE. I think maybe it's been 10 years ago now, because she went somewhere, I think in Texas. Can't remember if Freeman was her last name either, but there was her aunt worked right in our office. So anyway, she will be official in the July, and that means any big decision document like a record of decision or even a ESD, she would be the signer of that. And now that will be in place, we're also waiting for a new branch chief to be named for one of our private Superfund sections, and also a couple more section chiefs. So section chiefs, branch chiefs, and division director. Once that is in place, our new federal facility branch that Glenn Adams heads up, I think will be official in terms of what. So essentially, not everybody works solely on DOE sites. Even I have a private site, so it's not uncommon that maybe your majority of your work is a DOE or DOD site, but you might have some private sites too. So that'll determine where different staff go when that gets completely organized. I think that's all I have. Thanks.
Any questions for John and EPA? Okay. We'll move it on down the road. Susan, you ready?
Good afternoon. Some of what I have to say will be a little repetitive. So John just mentioned a couple of ESDs that we've been working on. South Carolina has signed the explanation of significant difference for Dunbarton Bay. So at this point, we forwarded it over to John, and so EPA would be the next signature for that document, and then that one will be finalized. The explanation of significant difference for the F area diversion boxes 5 and 6, DHEC has completed review of that one and has approved the document. Okay, so that one will be routed for signatures fairly soon, and then that one will be finalized for the public as well. And then Mr. DeShong mentioned for the liquid waste program that the Ticker 2 evaluation. So DHEC and DOE have been engaged in discussions regarding DOE's determination of technical feasibility and economic efficiency for the tank closure cesium removal, or TICR Unit 2. We've had several meetings, had a meeting in April, had a follow-up letter regarding that. And DHEC did agree with DOE's recommendation that the substitute the TICR 2 unit with a purchase of critical spare equipment to support SWPF reliability, to maintain feed reliability to SWPF, and sustained reliability for receipts from SWPF. So we agree that this substitution will be money well spent rather than using the money towards a second TICR unit. And if you recall, the TICR Unit 1 is no longer being used at the site right now. So that substitution is part of our dispute resolution agreement. We'll consider that substitution complete when DOE has documented that they have spent $78 million for these supplemental tank closure activities. And then just a couple of inspections to note that DHEC conducted our Underground Storage Tank Program and our Resource Conservation and Recovery Act program, or RCRA program, conducted inspections in May, and all the permits and variances were in compliance for the site for those two programs. That's all I have.
All right. Any question for Susan and DHEC?
Okay, so no questions, then I'm going to let Greg make an announcement.
Okay.
Greg O'Quinn, South Carolina DHEC. Just want to make a quick announcement as far as our office is concerned. We're excited that we have hired Madeline Kellett as our new Outreach and Public Information Coordinator in the Aiken office. And she's behind me, so I'm going to ask her to stand up.
Everyone wave at Madeline. Hi, Madeline.
So she's been with us almost 2 months now, and so we're trying to get her in the swing of things and get her as immersed in the program ESOP as we can, and she'll be the one kind of communicating regarding ESOP out to everybody. Wanted to make that announcement.
Thanks, Greg. All right. Any follow-up, folks? Last minute questions for Edwin, John, or Susan? Seeing none. Let's move on. Let's go into our committee updates, and then we'll assess where we are. I think that this will go pretty quick, judging by the executive committee meeting that we had this morning, but we're going to go through it anyway. Phyllis, I know that y'all didn't meet, but I want to give you a chance. Does FDSR have anything to share with the board? No, she laughs
Sorry.
out. She didn't even wait for the microphone to turn on. She's like, no, we're done. Okay. Turn it over to nuclear materials. Narendra, do you have anything?
We have, we'll be discussing a closure of one of the recommendations in the CAB meeting.
Yes.
That's the input I have. Thank you.
That's the input that you have. All right. Ruth, do you have anything for waste management to update?
CAB Waste Management met at the DOE 13, 2023, 5 p.m. Had 11 CAB members. Mr. John Clark, DOE, provided the committee members with an update on maximizing risk reduction by optimizing Curie strategy. The Waste Management Committee focuses on the processing, thus reduction in the amount of nuclear waste stored on the site. Since October 2020, 6.02 million gallons of waste has been processed, and 2.06 gallons has been processed this year. And I believe that Mr. Deschamps' numbers are more accurate than mine, because mine are a little bit behind, so please forgive me. Okay. At SRS, 35 million gallons of nuclear waste is stored in 43 tanks. Each of the 43 tanks contains two types of waste, salt and sludge. The sludge makes up around 8% of the volume of the tank, but nearly half of the radioactivity. The salt makes up around 92% of the volume and just over 50% of the radioactivity. The salt decontaminated solution is sent to the saltstone production facility, which acts as a giant concrete plant and mixes the waste with a concrete-like substance for disposal in the saltstone disposal units. The sludge is vitrified and placed in specialized glass waste containers and stored in one of 2 glass waste storage buildings. Mr. Clark reported that another 45 vitrified glass logs were poured for the 2 waste storage buildings. 1,968 canisters have been double stacked in these 2 buildings since 2016. And again, the numbers are even better as per Mr. Deschamps. The 8th saltstone disposal unit at Savannah River site has been open 3 years ahead of schedule. This is progress. This is great. And we are appreciative of all the hard work that everyone does, the committee and everyone at Savannah River site. And lastly, the CAB members would like to recognize the subject matter experts in attendance at the committee meeting. They are committing their time to be there to assist us. And those individuals are John Clark, Mike Borders, Kyle Kilroy, Sony Blanco, and Larry Ling. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Carlos, I know that y'all haven't met, but I wanted to see if y'all had anything you wanted to share.
No updates other than these next few days will be integral in developing our work plan, the information that we'll be getting in the presentation. So we look forward to that.
I think so. I think tomorrow's afternoon's presentation is going to be key to the future of your committee. And then I don't see our A&O chair. Bobby, as vice chair, I'll give you. I hate to give you. I should have warned you. You're sitting right here next to me. But since you're here, do you have any updates that you want to share right now? No updates, but there is an A&O committee meeting this afternoon at the conclusion of this one for those who are so inclined to participate. Any questions for the committees? None at all? I can't. So let me rephrase this. I don't see our next presenter in the room. So you can either ask some questions or we can take a break until I get my presenter. What do y'all want to do? Take a break? One thing before I'm going to let you go, I'm going to let our friends online know. We know that the internet is a little bit spotty in this room. It's probably not the best signal. It might be a little pixelated, slowed audio. Please note that we'll get the clean recording up online if this one turns out to not be that great. So live may not be awesome, but the recording is going to be fantastic, I've been assured. All right. I want to give you 15 minutes or until I see a presenter, okay? Thank you. Really? Well, that was a lot faster than anticipated. It usually takes a minute. Everybody just went, yep, we're here. So as you know, we ran a little bit fast this morning, and we've given our presenter an opportunity to get her feet under her. She knows she's here in the room now. She's ready to go. And I'm really excited for this one because I sat through the dry run with Miss Vivian. I thought that this was a really interesting and engaging program. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And with that, I'll just step back and let you take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, James. Good afternoon, everybody. So I hope everybody can hear me okay. I was told to keep my head in a certain direction, so I'm trying to do that. Bear with me. Let me know if you cannot hear me. I am Vivian Holloway, for those of you who I've not had the opportunity to meet. I am the program manager for the Department of Energy, Office of Environmental Management, Minority Serving Institution Partnership Program. I am an employee of Savannah River National Laboratory, and we manage this program for the Department of Energy. Just a little background, I have been a site employee for 36 years. I'm excited to say I've had the opportunity to work at various facilities on site. So today, I just want to give you a high-level overview of the program that we manage. We are very excited about the things and the opportunities that we have through this program. So the Department of Energy, we refer to this program as the EM MSIP program, because Minority Serving Institution Partnership Program. It's quite a mouthful to say. So EM's mission, as most of you are aware, is to complete the safe cleanup of environmental legacy brought about by decades of nuclear weapons development and government-sponsored nuclear energy research. So in order to support that effort, it is very important that we maintain a well-trained, technically skilled, and diverse workforce who are knowledgeable in critical science, engineering, technology, and math, or STEM disciplines, that is needed to support the EM mission. So engagement with minority-serving institutions and historically black colleges provides an opportunity to inform students on the real challenges of the EM mission and to position a future workforce pipeline. EM MSIP is designed to address EM's future workforce needs by partnering with academics, government, and DOE contractor organizations to mentor future minority scientists and engineers in the areas of research, development, and deployment of new technologies that address the EM's environmental cleanup challenges. So, just to give you a high level, as I said, about our program, these are our program elements. We have the Competitive Research Awards, we have the internship program, we have what we call the Environmental Sciences Field Station, which is run in collaboration with South Carolina State University and USC Aiken. We now have a postdoctoral research program. We have a graduate fellowship program. And as of FY22, we initiated a grants program, which also, we use this program to encourage shared interest research with universities and in collaboration with EM folks and national laboratories. And we also encourage professional development, curriculum implementation also at these institutions. Also, one important thing we wanted to highlight is through this program, we have had the opportunity to engage with a lot of institutions across the United States. This map actually reflects the partnerships in those states in which we've either funded universities or we've had interns come in to work along with our labs and also through our field station. The green states actually reflect the EM sites. So as you can see, we've had institutions and partnerships with most of the states where we do have EM cleanup sites. I thought it was very important to highlight some of our workforce efforts and some of the accomplishments that we have been able to fulfill through this program. I mentioned the postdoctoral research program. This is a fairly new program in which it was launched in 2021. So far, we have 7 national fellows, and 5 of them have been hired at SRNL. We are in the process also of hiring other postdoctoral research fellows at PNNL. We've also hired a couple at INL. One important thing to mention, this program supports the DOE complex. So in that supporting the DOE complex, currently there are 6 national laboratories that support this program. In FY23, we are looking to expand that to also support the EM sites as well, the field sites. Through our graduate fellowship program, that's another new program. This program was initiated actually this year. The first cohort started June of this year. We have 11 national fellows that will take part in this program, 2 at SRNL. This is a 13-month assignment. These fellows have the opportunity to go to these various sites and work along with researchers and scientists and engineers to gain the knowledge and the skills that's needed to support the EM's missions. Also, looking at our research interns. For this year, we had 31 national interns, 10 of those in which we hosted at Savannah River National Laboratory. We also hosted 4 interns at DOE headquarters. The Savannah River Environmental Sciences Field Station. That is a 3-discipline track. Students who are involved in this program, and it's a 10-week summer program, they have the opportunity to take courses in environmental sciences, engineering, and in FY22, we added a cybersecurity track. Historically, we host about 20 students with that program. This year, with the addition of cybersecurity, we were able to host 40 students, and we were also able to bring on a graduate fellow, a graduate assistant, who joined us from the University of Puerto Rico. We wanted to highlight Dr. Fong Pham. She is one of our fellows. She's now part of the postdoctoral research fellows. But one of the things that we are proud of in this program is we have opportunities that will support students throughout their academic career. We have internship programs that run through the summer. We have the graduate fellowship program, which is now a 13-month assignment. We have the postdoctoral research program based on what facility they support as to how long they will take part in that program. Dr. Pham was one of these students. She's an environmental chemist. She works now with Environmental and Legacy Management Directorate at Savannah River National Laboratory. She participated through our program through what's called, I mentioned, our competitive research awards. Our competitive research is where we actually fund a university to partner with us on research for a 12-month period. This research is done at the university, so the students have an opportunity to participate in that research along with the PI at their university. So Dr. Pham participated in that at her university. She also was an alumni of the DOE Fellows Program. She actually came to SRNL for 2 consecutive summers and interned through that program. So that's a prime example how all of our programs work together to support these students. And then eventually our goal is for them to join the workforce, whether at DOE or one of our contractors or at the national labs. We wanted to highlight this effort. We create opportunities also for our students. We like to build what we say is relationships, because that's the key to a lot of students returning to us and wanting to join our workforce. This is an example of how we support the Waste Management Symposia. This particular year, we had our largest involvement and engagement with this conference. We had 54 MSIP students from 11 universities attended the Waste Management Symposia. They served as ambassadors. They presented papers. They did poster research. So we really believe in getting our students involved, building this relationship, building this network, and letting them know how important it is to build those relationships, to present their work. They also, we had 3 of our funded universities bring in demonstrations to demonstrate some of the work they have been doing. Like, for an example, Florida International University had a robotic dog that they had built and to use to assist in retrieving things that could not be retrieved by humans. They participated in a roundtable. As you can see from the photo, they were able to participate in this roundtable with EM 1, 2, and 3, which is very important because the students need to know how important it is that we're really proud of the work that they're doing and that we want them to continue to be involved in these opportunities. So they had the opportunity to talk with the senior level management from EM. They had the opportunity to hear their stories. They were able to ask them about their journey and how they got to where they were. And also, for the first time, one of our Minority Serving Institution Partnership Program students was awarded the Roy G. Post Foundation Scholarship. We were very proud of that. And as I mentioned, too, the students also served in the ambassador zone. I wanted to highlight this. Last year, we held our first MSIP workshop. Last year, we focused more so on our competitive research awards. This program has grown to the number of participants. We are now, for FY23, we are highlighting our achievements and the things that we've been able to accomplish over the year. So August 1st and 2nd in Augusta, at the Augusta Marriott Convention Center in Augusta, Georgia, we will be hosting our second workshop, and we are very excited. I mentioned earlier that historically there were 6 national labs that supported this program. We are expanding that because we want to expand the opportunities that the students have. So we're now inviting DOE EM field sites to participate in this program. So we're bringing in senior level management from some of the field sites to talk with our participants. So a lot of our participants are not aware of what type of research that goes on at these various sites. So we want to share this information. We want to help to assist in building this network and making these connections with these folks. So that'll be our main goal at this workshop. We have a large scope with this program, and I wanted to introduce you to the team here at SRNL that helps to bring this program to pass. Again, you met me. I am the program manager for this program. Also, I am the team lead. We have Jeannie Pajot-Ortez, who is a program coordinator handling our finance and our budget. Tammy Newman, who is a program coordinator handling our PR, making sure that you hear about the great things that we do, that we have going on. So we also have Latasha Glover, who's handling our performance metrics. We thought this was a very important role to implement into this program so we can show the success of this program, tracking the number of students, tracking the universities, tracking the faculty that's involved. We have Kimberly Ross-Malton, who is coordinating our workforce efforts. Kimberly helps us with the internship program. She helps us to post a position. She helps us to publish those positions. And also, the slide, unfortunately, was created. We now have 2 more team members. Theo Chung, who's accompanying me today, has been brought on board to help us with our university relations and engagement. We want to expand this program. So in expanding this program, we have to expand our scope of the universities that we have partnerships with. We also have Philip McCants, who is another program coordinator who is brought on to handle our business solutions. Fortunately, last year, we were able to double the number of applicants that applied to our internship programs. And we did that through the system called Handshake. Unfortunately, it was the free system, so now we are going into a more premium system that we are able to target certain areas to identify students that were directly are at these universities who can support direct research areas. So Philip is going to come on board. He's going to help us with that. He's going to help us with trending data. We want to make sure the students know about the opportunities and how they can use these opportunities to aid them throughout their academic career. So he's been brought on board to help us with that. Last but not least, we have a LinkedIn page. We talked about we want to share the knowledge of all the wonderful things that we have going on. We want to make sure the students know when these opportunities are available. So we've created a LinkedIn page. Another thing we added to the LinkedIn page was an alumni page. We want to build this community. Students who have come through the program, we're encouraging them to get on the alumni page, share their experiences, maybe talk to folks who are thinking about doing it, not quite sure. Because we have students from all over. I mentioned we had a research assistant from Puerto Rico. So we want to make sure that we're building this community. We're doing the things to support this community. And last but not least, this is how you're going to register for our workshop. We ask that you register. We're trying to get a head count. So take out your phones. I would love for all of you, especially to join our LinkedIn community. Follow us, hear about the great things we have going on. And also, if you're available, join us at the workshop, August 1st and 2nd. I did a very high-level overview for you, but if you want to come in and talk to the students, we're going to have an undergraduate and a graduate poster session. We have 84 students that have signed up to present posters. We're very excited about that. We have PIs that's coming in. We have folks from EM that's coming in. So we want you to come and be a part of this great workshop that we're going to have. And any questions?
So I know some of you may have struggled at the distance to get the QR codes to work. Those of y'all at the table, you've got this in front of you in your handout. So it's a lot easier than from 100 feet away. Questions for on the table? We'll start with Carlos.
Before he asks his question, this is my son, I want you all to know. So his question better not be too difficult, or he's going to get it later.
Yeah, no, my first question was going to be if I can call you Mom. You know, Vivian sounds a little formal, so.
You can call me Miss Holloway this time.
Area for minority serving institution.
Great question. Minority, we use the definition from the Department of Education. That definition is 25% of one ethnic minority group, and it's based off the enrollment of the institution, or 50% collective. Great question. You're not in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg.
Greg Murray, CAB, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Can you name, I think there are probably more minority serving institutions than people think. Can you name some of the minority serving institutions?
Sure. Great question. Thank you. There are over 700 minority serving institutions in the United States and territories. But that also include two-year institutions as well. I will name some of the ones that we have partnerships with. We have partnerships with South Carolina State University, Claflin University, Florida International University, FAMU, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Jackson State. And in fact, if you guys are interested, I can just, if you can email me, I can certainly send you the list. Again, we use the Department of Education's list.
Is Augusta University one?
Augusta University, when we looked at that's another great question. At this time, they are not a MSI, but they were very close.
Yeah, I was thinking they were. I see this as, it sounds like all the people who participate, this is all basically pre-employment. How have these folks actually translated into increased workforce out at SRS?
That's another great question. So, as I talked about the postdoctoral research program, right? So at SRNL, that's a 24-month assignment. And then it hopefully rolls over. They have the option to roll over into a full-time assignment. We have onboarded interns to work at SRNL. I have some great examples, and if you come to the workshop, we have an alumni panel in which 2 of them are previous participants who are now SRS employees. One of them interned for 3 summers. She interned once at Los Alamos and twice at SRNL, and now she's part of our environmental compliance organization. We have another one that interned 2 summers with us, and now she's she's an engineer with SRMC. So we do onboard these. We encourage that. So if there's any, that's our goal. That's the end result, is to increase the pipeline.
Right. Are you talking a handful of people, like 4 or 5 people, or are we talking 24 people?
Now, and that's another great question, because historically that information has been harder to track. Because as you all are aware, once the interns leave the program or they leave the university specifically. So that's one of the reasons we brought on a metrics coordinator. We're in the process of tracking down that information to get more solid data to support that. But at SRS, we have at least 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll turn it over now. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for the presentation.
Vivian, if I can jump in on that, one of the things too, Greg, to remember is this is an EM-wide program too. So we feel like no matter where they go, we benefit. So even if they don't get a job at Savannah River site, if they get a job somewhere else in the complex, we're just as pleased with that, and they'll be tracking those numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Yeah. I understand that. I think that's true. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Kim?
Kim Ray, CAB. I just wanted to ask, how many years have you all been running this program?
Great question. This program was initiated in 2014.
John?
John Thomas, CAB. Is your downtown location at full capacity, and have you picked a new development site downtown?
When you say downtown.
Well, downtown Aiken. I know they're looking for a new site.
Oh, SRNL?
Yeah, SRNL.
In general, I can't answer that question.
Oh, okay.
That's outside of my knowledge.
Is registration to the workshop, is there a cost?
No, it is free. Great question. There is no cost.
All right. Any other questions from around the table? Going once, going twice. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Carlos going to be the only one to stand for that? I know he had to, but the rest of y'all, come on. Okay, so that's our presentation for today. We don't have a whole lot more that we have to cover for this afternoon that's actually on the agenda. I know that we've got a couple of recommendations that we're going to close. We can cover those tomorrow during the discussion before they're voted upon. We'll give you the opportunity to tell what they're about. Are there any questions, comments, concerns on anything that we covered today or anything that we haven't covered today that you wanted to talk about before we end until tomorrow morning? Anything that you need to get out? Any thoughts on what we've covered? we happy with the agency updates from this morning? Or not this morning, but at the start? We good? We good with EPA and DHEC as well? All right. One left. Yes, sir. Oh, Ms. Kim.
Kim Ray, CAB. I did have, this is not anything, but when they had this hack on Augusta County government a couple months ago now, and they said part of it was Los Alamos too?
I don't remember.
It was one of the facilities out there in New Mexico.
Okay.
One of the DOE facilities out there. It was WIP. It happened at WIP. They hacked into them as well. And I asked at that time, were we going to get a cybersecurity update at some point on what we are doing here at SRS?
We can add to it and see if we can get you an overview so that you understand what cybersecurity looks like at SRS. Be mindful it's going to be light on details but we can definitely talk to some of the work that they're doing there. I'll say it's an incredibly robust program. It truly is. When they talk about, I remember, what was it, Amy? Do you remember off the top of your head, attempted intrusions per day, numbers in the millions that they kick back? It's a lot. It really is impressive. But we'll make sure to make a note about that one. Any other questions, comments, concerns for the day? Seeing none. Back in the room tomorrow at 8:30 and we'll get started at 9.
Sorry.
And it will be in about 10 minutes.
Are we going to talk about usually when recommendations are coming up for closure, we usually see if there's any discussion or anything? Are we okay?
I figured we would do that tomorrow as part of
You want to do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Because it won't take long to go through them.
All right. Okay.
Okay. A&O for those who are so inclined in about 10 minutes in the room just out in the hallway to the right. If there's nothing else. All right. See you all at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. Remember, supply your own coffee. There's none's here.